We gon' run it, hit the field, blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North Talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North Talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North Talk.
Welcome to another edition AFC North Talk, presented by Caldera Labs. Today, we're presented by Caldera Lab. Shout out to them. Thank you if you're here watching the live stream or the replay. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for the notification every time we come live. Here today with special guest Steelers DB. Shout out to you, man. How you doing?
How's it going, man? Yeah, first ever appearance. I'm excited to talk some ball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this week, for the first time, is the first, well, in the AFC North, that all four teams are facing somebody not in the AFC North, right? Like every week, we have been somebody like Bengals. Obviously, is the first week without AFC North opponent. The Steelers haven't. No, Steelers.
No, the Steelers have one out of. Yeah, and I think the Browns have played two straight division games at this point.
And the Ravens have one. Exactly. Okay. That being said, because I think
just tripled up the work for this weekend, by the way. You know, it's so much easier when we just play each other. We got two games to cover.
Yeah, easy peasy. Anyway, let's start right ahead here with the Browns playing Tennessee in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken, right, Q?
Yes, this is in Cleveland. And
go ahead.
Yeah, this game's in Cleveland. I mean, like, everybody's going to come in here. We know what we're going to be talking about, right? It's going to be about Deshaun Watson. Is Monday night the norm? Is Monday night not the norm? Was it just one bad game? What went down to create that situation with them? I think a couple things. Like, I think there's a couple of things going on. I think it's not as simple as saying, oh, it's just Deshaun, or it's just Kevin Stefanski, or it's just some of the wide receivers. I think there were a number of things, right? You look at that pick six at the beginning of the Steelers game. You know, one of the things that never got talked about, DeMarvin Leal makes a play there, gets his hands up, and alters the trajectory of that ball, which helps it carom into the hands of it was eventually Highsmith that caught the touchdown. You know, just it was a lot of stuff like that where it's like, oh, you're there, it should work, but you're just like a second late. Or, well, not a second, like half a second later. You didn't get the ball out in time, or you didn't see it right, or you didn't trust the midfield read enough to where you felt like you could let go of the ball without seeing it come open. There was another double move that they did on one of the linebackers in Pittsburgh. I believe it is Cole Holcomb with Elijah Moore. They had him do a wheel route out the backfield, ran straight into Cole Holcomb. It gets open, but Deshaun waits that extra second to confirm that it's open instead of just seeing once Elijah puts the move, you see the hands out. No, Quan Alexander, my bad. It was on Quan Alexander. Sees him put that hand out. You should just throw it. Trust it. That's the stuff that shows me, okay, that's not being comfortable in the offense. That's not trusting what you have to do yet. When I look at Deshaun, I see a quarterback who feels comfortable with the stuff outside. When he throws those balls on the outside, he's confident, he's accurate. He looks more like himself there. When he's throwing in the middle of the field, he's hesitant. He's pumping the ball. He's like, I don't know. Should I throw it? Is it there? And it kind of reminds you of what a rookie quarterback looks like when they're adjusting to NFL speed because they don't know. Do I have the arm strength to get it there? Am I going to throw a pick? I don't want to throw a pick, right? Like you can see that stuff going through his head when he works that part of the field. And the only thing that's going to get rid of that is just executing and having success in that part of the field. So I don't know which version of Deshaun you're going to get, but I don't think you need a crazy version of Deshaun to win this game against the Tennessee Titans. This game plan is going to be very similar to what you did against Pittsburgh. The question is going to be, you're going to be very aggressive towards these runs. I think Jim Schwartz talked about, you want to get Derrick Henry going, east and west, not north and south. Basically, we all know the deal with Derrick Henry. We've watched him long enough. He takes like 3 steps to whichever side. If he gets downhill, you're in trouble. If you get him before he goes downhill, you're fine. This has kind of been his game. He's unstoppable at it if you can't get him before he gets downhill. The positive thing with the Cleveland Browns, they're really fast. They can get to him before he gets downhill, especially now since he's a little older. The issue is that they're small. Even their linebackers are small, right? So if you don't wrap up, if you don't get him that first try, we saw this with Najee, where Najee was able to break some tackles, bounce to the other side, or just get through the first level of defenders because there's not a bunch of weight that's thrown at him, and be able to get free. So that's going to be the question. I think they're going to do pretty good at stopping Derrick Henry 90% of the time. The question is, how out of control does that 10% get, right? Because there's going to be 10% where you're there, you try to make the play, somebody misses, Grant Delpit overshoots a gap or something like that, and he's going to have an opportunity to run. Can you contain that damage? If you keep Derrick Henry under 100 yards, you should win this game. I don't think that I think also Greg Newsome being out is a thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about that's going to affect their run game specifically. I think he's also an important piece of secondary, but I think the run games where he's going to be missed more this week, super aggressive, small guy who's a decent tackler, and a really good coverage guy. So you don't give away your personnels or where you're leaning defensively when you have him out on the field. Then you go on the other side of this, you look at Ryan Tannehill, 35-year-old quarterbacks. I talk about this all the time. People act like quarterbacks can live forever, can play forever. You hit 35 as a quarterback, most guys taper off significantly after 35, right? We look at Matt Ryan. By the time he hit 35, it was obvious. By the time he was 36, he was out the league. I don't even think Cam got to 35. I think Cam got to 30, and it was done for him, right? Joe Flacco's another guy who just completely went off a cliff from being a starting quarterback to now he's like trying to get onto a practice squad. Same thing with Andy Dalton. 35's that year. Week 1, it looked like that was going to be the case for him. Week 2, it looked a little better, but we know the issues that Brandon Staley and that defense have had. They let Tua get like 500 in week 1. So I don't know which version of Ryan Tannehill you're getting, right? Because there's a version of him that's a veteran quarterback that's going to be able to take advantage of some of the things that are just going to be open versus this defense. You know, they're aggressive. Pittsburgh did a really good job freeing up some plays by using some rub concepts, right? Like having guys kind of stand there, block off Taki when they know he's in man coverage, and then run back the opposite way. They can do stuff like that. They'll do stuff like that with Tajay. Again, it's about containing that damage. It's like, okay, they'll get 30 yards there, but do they get another first down? Similar game plan to Pittsburgh. I expect them to execute it. Offensively, they're going to have to throw the ball because that's the weak point of this Titans defense. They're just not a great secondary, in my opinion. And I think you will hurt yourself if you're trying to lean on this run game minus Nick Chubb against Jeffrey Simmons in that front. So I think they're going to have to rely on Deshaun. I think Deshaun's going to have to play a much better game, and I think he will. I think that there is a chance that he can look a little bit better. Now, does that mean that Deshaun's fixed, that where he's back automatically if he has a 300-yard game? No. It just means he had a good game. You need to see him string these games together before you can get excited about anything. And then you want to see it against teams like the Ravens. You want to see it against teams in division. You want to see that kind of evidence before you get carried away. But right now, this is a similar game plan. You should have won that game in Pittsburgh. You +2 in the turnover margin again. 4 turnovers, 6 turnovers by the offense in 2 weeks. It's not good, right? Not good. Your defense has had they had 2 turnovers last week. You were +2. That's not good. So they have to find a way to make sure that they don't turn the ball over. They play a clean game on offense. They should win this game. The question is, that clean game on offense, that looks like a bigger question mark than I anticipated it would be coming into the season. So we'll see if they do that, but they should win this game. It's at home. They just had an embarrassing loss. Like, they should have everything kind of squared up to a point to where they're not going to be embarrassing this week. And who knows? Look, also, anybody who's watched the AFC North for a long time knows weird happens when Cleveland plays in Pittsburgh. Every time, if the team's good, if the team's bad, stuff happens, right? Well, week 15, where the Browns just gave up 6 sacks to TJ Watt, and then Ben got to go off into retirement crying on us. Like, stuff just happens. It's Pittsburgh. You got to flush it and see if something new happens. So maybe you can lean on that. But again, they should win this game. The question is, can the offense not shoot themselves in the foot? Same question last week. And they decided to get a machine gun and chop that foot up. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they should win this game. There's only reason they'll lose this game again is if they cost themselves it.
Yeah, I would say this. Like, we're talking about Tennessee Titans right now. Their turnover margin is -1. Tannehill, no passing TDs. They they haven't allowed any rushing TDs, but they have allowed 3 passing TDs. Um, their best receiver is DeAndre Hopkins. A guy I like, but he shouldn't be your main guy. He should be maybe your second guy. Um, I think this is a game for Cleveland, not only to win, they should try to dominate, right? They should defensively. I expect the Cleveland Browns to dominate the Tennessee Titans offense. On pressure, that O-line on the Tennessee Titans is not the best. It's kind of weak, and we have seen that the Browns can pressure and sack the opposing QB. So right there, they should dominate. The Browns should.
By the way, blast from the past for AFC North fans. You know who's the starting right tackle right now for the Tennessee Titans? Chris Hubbard.
Hubbard, yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I thought his career was over.
I thought it was over too.
Cleveland, because he had left with like multiple season-ending injuries. Shout out to him for extending his career. But my bad, Sonny.
That's okay. So on offense, the Cleveland Browns should dominate the offense of the Tennessee Titans. They should pressure Tannehill, and I can see them getting interceptions, right? If we go on the other side on the Browns offense, I think this is a game for Watson. Look, the secondary of the Titans is not the strongest. It's not their strong suit. They thrive. Bravo's more like a great guy. Let's stop the run. And that's what they predicate, right? The Browns like to run the ball, and they're very effective. No shove, so obviously we'll see how much that impact. But this is a game that you will run. You don't want to abandon the run, but you will have opportunities in the passing game, and you want to see that, right? I feel like one thing that Deshaun Watson is missing from Houston's time. For Houston, he used to like throw it to guys that were wide open. Okay, most QBs can do that, but he had that guy DeAndre Hopkins in his prime that he said, "You're a cover. I don't care. I'm just gonna throw it to you." And he catches it, right? In Cleveland, he doesn't have that DeAndre Hopkins. He has a guy really good and Amari Cooper that creates separation because route 3, right? And Elijah Moore, a speedy guy that also can create some separation with his speed. I think he's missing that. But by now, a more mature quarterback, he needs to adjust. And this is a game that he will have opportunity to exploit that defensive secondary. Obviously, the O-line is so important in Cleveland. This is a game that the O-line needs to also help Deshaun, and Deshaun needs to help himself, not holding that ball forever because he likes to do that, right? And this is a game that is almost like it's set up for it to be a get-right game. The Titans are 1-1. They haven't looked super impressive in neither of the games. So this is a get-right game, in my opinion, for Cleveland. Cleveland, like I said, trenches-wise should dominate. And not only that, Watson should dominate that secondary of the Titans. So I had Cleveland winning this game by 10. That's what I have. Steelers, DB, what do you think?
Should be a good game. I think Q hit on a lot of the problems, at least from the Browns' perspective, against the Steelers. I mean, I'm still waiting to see Deshaun look more willing to play within the structure of the offense. You can tell that Stefanski is trying to do some different things. You know, they're throwing some 4 receiver sets. They're leaning into empty more. They're running out of shotgun more. You can see that they're trying to do some things to make him more comfortable. But kind of like what Q was talking about, just as soon as he gets to the top of his drop, you know, if there's even a hint of pressure, his eyes drop, and then he just goes immediately into creation mode.
It's like he runs out the pocket, and that's his hot. Like, he doesn't think about getting rid of the ball, throwing it or anything. He just like, okay, I'm gonna run out here, try to like make a play, scramble or something like that. And it's he
got used to that in Houston, right? Because Houston did not have good O-lines with him, and he used to just bail.
He got used to that in Clemson. I mean, like, you go back to Clemson, this is what he used to do. You know, it's kind of just a preference in his style of play, but it's also like, the guys who are elite in this league, like, they can do that. Like, Pat Mahomes does that, but Pat Mahomes also, you know, if the dig's there, he takes it, right? Like, he doesn't rely on it. And that's the thing with Deshaun. And it seems like even in 2020, he wasn't doing that as much as he's doing it now. And it seems like that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, okay, this feels like a rookie almost, because he's relying on what he's always been able to get away with. Okay, I'm gonna just run real quick. Like, things are getting a little bit tough. And I don't know, maybe it's a game speed thing where that happens, because that's the only thing I could really attribute it to happening to some rookies, because his anticipation throwing, like, it hasn't been what it's been. Like, that's the thing that's worrisome with me, is that's what's gone away in his game.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's non-existent more than anything else. I mean, he just feels extremely chaotic to me in the pocket. And, the out of structure stuff, that's all good, but it's hard to make a living like that in the NFL at the NFL level. Like, these edge rushers are so fast, and things move so fast outside of the pocket. You just can't rely on trying to like hit these doubles and triples every single play. Like, Deshaun's not hitting the layups. And you mentioned like the interception that might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage a little bit, but those are the types of plays that you have to hit the stick route. Like, you have to be able to hit that at the NFL level. Shouldn't be a controversial thing to say. And he just doesn't hit the layups. And I'm interested to see where the offense goes for Cleveland without Nick Chubb. Obviously Ford had a really good showing against the Steelers, who have not stopped the run at all through 2 weeks. But I'm really impressed with the Cleveland defense, man. I think that Jim Schwartz done a really good job, especially up front. They added talent with Za'Darius and Dalvin Tomlinson and some of those guys. But I'm really impressed with the secondary. I know Delpit was a little bit hit or miss against the Steelers, made a really awesome play to begin the game. I felt like he was out of position on that touchdown throw to Pickens, but the corners are exceptional. Denzel Ward's still a really good player. When he's healthy, I know Newsom's out this week, but I think I had a hot take before the season, but I thought he was the second best player on that defense behind Myles Garrett. I'm extremely high on him. And then Martin Emerson, he's played good ball too. So it's hard to find good corners, especially good corners that are young and on rookie contracts, and Cleveland's done that. I think Schwartz is pressing a lot of the right buttons. I do think that there probably does need to be some context to like some of the stuff that they've done. Week 1, I think it's obvious that Joe Burrow's not completely right, and the Steelers' offense is right now it's absolutely atrocious. But I do think that this defense is legit, and it will be like enough to at least keep them competitive in games, as long as Watson doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, it's a big if.
Yeah. So, but I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland to win this game.
Ace, you good?
Ace, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I think that this is going to be a pretty good game. For me, I think the most underrated part about the Titans is their defensive line. They have a really good defensive line. That's the aspect of their team that I think helps them stay in this game against Cleveland and makes it interesting, especially with no Nick Chubb in this one, since they are pretty good against the run. So for me, that's going to be one of the keys in the game. But like you guys said, it's going to come down to Deshaun Watson. I trust Deshaun Watson more than I trust Ryan Tannehill. So I'm going to go with the Browns in this one slightly. I do think it will be a close game, though. The Titans are a good team. I think that Derrick Henry as well is going to definitely test the Browns' run defense for sure.
Yeah, I think the O-line in this game, it will be important. If Deshaun is clean, if they can get him clean, I think he would not have any excuses to throw that pick, right?
Wyatt Teller needs a bounce back from last week, because good Lord.
But Simmons is playing, right?
Jeffrey? Yeah.
Ooh, that is a matchup.
That's the beautiful thing about the NFL. You can have a bad game against Larry Ogunjobi one week and then play good against like Justin Simmons the next week. Like, it's just it's wild. Because he did well against DJ Reader the week before. It like nobody's taking Larry Ogunjobi over DJ Reader, but Larry got to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially in that first quarter, it was nasty.
Yeah, First, by the way, don't kill me, Bengals fans, but Reader hasn't looked good for 2 weeks because a backup center in Baltimore, I thought Reader was going to beat him alive. Anyway, Elite Dragon here with a super chat. Shout out to you, man. So glad we got rid of Wink. He got exposed again. I mean, that game was more competitive than I thought. The Giants and Niners game.
I can't believe I'm about to defend somebody who let Josh Dobbs score 24 points on him. But like, what he's supposed to do with that offense over there? Like, how are we gonna look at the Giants and be like, yeah, it's Wink's fault? Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of things wrong with that team. And I don't think it's all on Wink. I think that was the reason they were able to even fool themselves into giving Daniel Jones that contract.
Yeah, I think we're all shocked. Ravens Nation here said, is the thought for Burrow this week without his favorite receiver, Geno Stone? It'll be tough. Sorry, it'll be tough. Um, and then we had Nova Stone with his
Oh God, here we
fun
go.
fact of Brady. Brady won 4 Super Bowls and an MVP after age 35. Why he the GOAT?
He's pretty good. Tom Brady's pretty good at football.
TV here is a coercer is a Ravens fan hating on the Titans. I don't
Is
think
that
I
a
was
rival? Oh yeah. Because the whole logo jumping thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
whole thing.
But
They're still mad about that.
we haven't even played for a while. Like it was a rivalry, I would think. But so it
It's
was a
not the
rival.
same Titans
Yeah,
team.
that's the thing. It's not the same Titans team. And we used to be very big rivals before the AFC North, right?
Oh yeah, when the AFC Central.
Yeah, but after that, we had those. I would say it's like a 2-year, right? Lamar's rookie year
It's
to
wild.
like year 3 of Lamar. After that, we haven't even played each other. So anyway,
Remember when everybody thought Brandon Staley figured out Lamar Jackson? That was a time. That was a time.
right? Yeah, Staley. Right? That defense ain't looking good over there either.
It's crazy how fast it could go. You could be a genius one week, and then Chip Kelly was another one. They thought he was a genius because like Nick Foles had that Pro Bowl year with them, and then very quickly they took that title away from him.
Yep. Here on the poll, Browns 57, Titans 43. So closer than I thought on the voting for the AFC North. Okay, before we go to the Ravens game, Q, tell us about your sponsor.
Yes, gentlemen. First impressions matter, and if you're not taking care of your skin, people will notice, especially as you get older. Yes, fellas, I'm talking to you. Lucky for you, it's not hard. You just don't have the right tools. That's where Caldera Lab comes in. Their products reduce the visibility of wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Show your skin who's boss, and make a great impression with Caldera Lab. The guys at Caldera Lab have figured out skincare for men so you don't have to. Simply the best products and ingredients around your wellness. Have you seen their ads? Check out their website. And I keep getting hit on social media. Super cool. These guys are the best of the best, and their products show it. Caldera Lab's clinical trials have found that 94% of men's skin have showed an overall younger looking appearance after using their products after only a few weeks. You'll be seeing their products pay off in no time. I've been using the Caldera Lab kit that Dave sent me. It's a easy, 4-step process. They give you premium stuff in these premium bottles. You use them on your skin. You feel cleaner, refreshed. You smell good too. So there's all that to go. So make sure you make a good first impression and check out Caldera Lab. And just for our audience, we have an exclusive offer. This is the best offer available anywhere. Use promo code AFCNT at CalderaLab.com. 20% off right now. Get 20% off when you use the promo code again, AFCNT, the initials for this show, at CalderaLab.com, and make an unforgettable first impression that leads to the charming words, "You look younger." So if you want to get carded, get Caldera Labs. They're going to make you look super young. Sonny, you don't need no help with that, man. Like you have not aged.
Dude, nah. But Caldera Lab, it keeps your face smooth. Look, this is not a super chat, but it made me laugh. I have to read it. And I know he super chats here all the time. Hold on, we have somebody here spamming. This man here says, "My Steelers often needs Caldera Labs because it looks ugly." That made me laugh. Okay. The other polls up there. We're gonna talk about the Ravens game. Before we do that, big shout out to the top tier Patreons: Adam Holland, Don Gazulo, Luis Cousin, Leo Sell, Ray Rag, Wesley, World, Christian, Rob. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for helping us continue with the show. Okay. That being said, the Ravens. Look, I'm gonna kick it first here. The Ravens, this game, similar to Cleveland, although the Ravens are 2-0, this game is set up for, in my opinion, for Ravens to win. The rookie ain't playing, and that rookie's not officially, but he hasn't practiced up to today. The rumor is it's probably not gonna happen. And how the weather's gonna be here, the weather's gonna be nasty. I wouldn't play him either, right? Coming out of concussion. this is a game that the Ravens should dominate, right? The running game, the running attack for the Colts helps when Richardson is there since they don't have Fred Taylor. And Minshew's a good quarter. I actually like Minshew, by the way. I think Minshew, great backup to have. I think he's a borderline starter for in the NFL. But again, there's a rumor that they're looking into maybe moving this game. But if it is on Sunday, because of the storm Ophelia coming and it's raining a lot, those games are weird. And that is the thing, right? Now, what the Ravens need to do is then shift to 2020, 2021, pick the year, basically pound the rock. Because if it is just a downpour rain, the passing attack, and then windy too. It's going to be windy, gusting 20 mile per hour, 30 mile per hour. Again, if they play, the Ravens need to shift and say, okay, we're going to do more running. Now, we ran well. We ran effective last week against the Bengals. Cincy's defense, that front is good. I'm not Cincy. The Colts defense, that front is good, right? They have players in that front. And again, the O-line is hurt. We don't have the center. We don't have the left tackle. But they passed their fresh test against a good D-line in the Cincinnati Bengals. This is another good test on a good D-line. The thing is, I think in the Colts side, the bigger place for us to exploit the Colts is that secondary, similar to Cleveland with the Titans. But if it's going to be a downpour, I cannot in good faith say, Lamar, I need you to throw for 200, 250 or 300 yards on that weather condition. So this game is a game that I expect them to run the ball a lot. And if they jump to a big lead, to basically slow that game, burn the clock, and leave here without injury. I think that is the goal. Can you win on a game that is not going to be super exciting? Can you slow down the game tempo, right? Burn the clock, and almost make Cincy almost make the Colts a one-dimensional team. If you jump into a big lead, and if the conditions are bad, that's just gonna favor yourself. In good conditions, I will say, Pittman might be a problem because our secondary is really hurt. But again, I think weather-wise, and that's the one thing, because the weather is gonna be so bad, you have to be careful with the fumbles, right? You have to hold on to the ball. Lamar, I would say that was one thing that Lamar has done this year. Against the Bengals, he had a fumble that didn't count because it was a penalty. But against on week 1 against the Texans, he had 2 fumbles. This is a game actually that, because again, if the weather is not great, I would say the Ravens should just put pressure every play. Dare them to throw. Just bring the house and say, go ahead, try to throw. And to be fair, if I was the Colts, I would do the same thing. It's just with Lamar on the quarterback side, you have to be careful, because if you miss him and you just send the house, that might be 7. I have the Ravens. I have the Ravens winning on a game that is going to be low scoring, in my opinion, because of the weather. I think 16-6 is what I have them. Ravens, but a game that might not be the favorite for most people to watch on their TV this week. But I think the Ravens go 3-0. By the way, fans, I know it's probably like when the Baltimore Ravens go to Cleveland. They hate the Colts when they come. It's the only team that it won't say Colts. I think it says Indy. They don't put Colts in the scoreboard when the Colts.
That petty? That's crazy. Being that petty when you stole somebody else's team to get yours. That's nuts. Yeah. Baltimore.
Yeah. We did it in the legal way.
We put Baltimore Ravens on our scoreboard when y'all come into town twice. Yeah,
but you see, we didn't keep the name. We didn't.
That's
right?
true.
So that's
legally
why,
weren't able
exactly.
to. But
we let the Browns. I know that's yours. So we left it there. Anyway, I think the Ravens win. Not the prettiest game, but I think the Ravens are the better team. I think the Ravens win and go to 3-0. Q, what do you think?
Yeah, this game comes down to running the football. Even though the Colts are a good run defense, I still would trust the Ravens to be able to do something because they have Lamar. I think Gus Edwards is kind of underrated. I've always been a Gus the Bus fan. And even Justice Hill, he's good for what you use him for. Because like you gotta think Lamar is really the second running back, and then you throw in Justice Hill to kind of do some of this.
Practice, by the way, he hasn't practiced.
Justice,
yeah. Just to add that.
So what y'all gonna have Devin Duvernay in there? Zay Flowers taking carries? It might be a good week for that. Zay could do it.
They signed Kenyon Drake.
Yo, Zay Flowers is taking 6 carries there. Like that's just gonna be what happens. Yeah, Devin Duvernay's getting 3 or 4. No, Devin Duvernay's getting 5, and Zay Flowers is getting like 8. And then that's what they're gonna do because there's no way they're playing Kenyon Drake. Not after a week's notice. So yeah, I think that the run game will be fine there. I don't know. The line might be an issue. This is going to be an ugly game, exactly. And I really don't know what to make of it because of the ugliness that it projects to be. This would be so much more interesting if Anthony Richardson was playing in this game, because you talk about somebody in a bad weather game you want to have on your team is Anthony Richardson, because like that dude's just impossible to tackle at times, right? So if they don't have him and it's Gardner Minshew, I feel pretty good about the Ravens' chances here. This is in Jackson. Well, not where is it?
Yeah, it's Baltimore.
Oh, Hyde is coming up north. I am clueless. All right, so yeah, I think I'm gonna take Baltimore here at home, rain game. And if it's not a rain game, I really have Baltimore because man, that secondary looks leaky for the Colts. I think you could really take advantage of it. No Odell, I think it's gonna be fine. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. I mean, those are the real 2 guys that you have to worry about when you play the Ravens. Everybody else is kind of supplementary to what they want to do there. So yeah, it's going to be one of those games. And look, if it's a run game and you have Roquan Smith on your defense, and look, I know I am more critical than most of Roquan Smith, but Roquan Smith in a game where somebody has to run the ball a ton, oh yeah, you want that dude on your team, because there's one thing Roquan's not going to do, and that's miss a tackle.
He's probably one of the most sure tackle players.
Now you get Roquan Smith in coverage now. Okay, but if you have him stopping the run, he's gonna be a thumper, like incredibly good in that kind of situation. So yeah, the Ravens have everything to win a bad weather game here, and if it's a good weather game, I really have the Ravens.
Steeler DB, what's your take on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I know the weather is what it is, and that's going to probably preclude them from throwing the ball all over the yard. But I think that the Ravens absolutely have to try to take some shots, just because Indianapolis is playing like 2 undrafted rookie or second-year corners, and it's like that because they had some young guys that they drafted were hurt over the summer, so these guys kind of got forced into coverage. But I'm just looking at some of the stats on Pro Football Focus right now, just because this was something that I meant Thomas. Daryl Baker Jr. has played 80 coverage snaps. He's gotten targeted 19 times, 12 receptions, 205 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, I'm not a fan of like charting cornerback grades just because zone coverage and stuff like that. It's hard to necessarily blame all that stuff on that. But with Zay Flowers and how good he's looked, man, and how on fire Lamar was last week, I still think that they have to at least try to take some shots with the ball. I think Baltimore's obviously they've got some injuries pretty much everywhere. A lot of injuries in the secondary. No Marcus Williams. So that's going to be, something to keep an eye on. I always think it's interesting. It provides a different dynamic to kind of scout to when your backup is like way different stylistically than your starter. So like Minshew's a completely different type of player than Richardson. And I think Baltimore, I would assume, has probably been preparing for Minshew all week just because Richardson had a concussion or was in concussion protocol and hadn't practiced. So I'm interested to see what the game plan looks like. The Colts, man, they're just running low on guys to carry the football. Evan Hull's out. They're just still missing Jonathan Taylor. They're kind of trying to find a running game without that. Like Minshew's going to have to do a lot with his arm. That's going to be pretty tough. So I think Baltimore, even with all the injuries and everything like that, I trust Mike McDonald to get a good scheme going. I think they'll end up turning over Minshew a couple times. I think they win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I think one thing that Q said that is very important is if you have Richardson in back condition, that's very different because Richardson can run. He's big, tough to tackle, right? Minshew in good conditions. Then you have to be concerned on the passing game with Pittman, right? Pittman, a great receiver. And right now, with our secondary being hurt, we lost another guy this week for the year. It could be concerning. But in a game that is going to be torrential rain with 20 to 40 mile per hour gust, then Minshew's passing ability, whatever he has, it gets degraded, right? So same for Lamar. This is for any quarterback.
If you're
But
Baltimore, do you really want this game just to get delayed? Because like, do you like all the injuries you've had? Do you really want to go out there and play in a bad weather game?
no, I don't. I prefer if they, because there's a rumor that they might move it to Monday, and I think the Steelers game possibly as well. Well, because not the Steelers, the
The
Commanders,
Bengals,
the
yeah. The
Commanders.
Steelers play Sunday night against
Yeah,
the
yeah. No, I
Oakland
was thinking
Raiders.
about the
Oakland
Commanders,
Raiders.
the Commander game. So we both are playing on early Sunday. So yeah, I would prefer them to move it to Monday, although I would hate it to go to short week the following week. But we have so many injuries that you don't want to play in bad field conditions. Anyway, with that being said, Ace, what do you think of this game?
Yeah, I think you guys hit the nail on the head with the weather. I think the weather actually benefits the Colts a lot in this game because I think if there were great conditions weather-wise, I think Baltimore blows this Colts team out, especially without Anthony Richardson there. However, even with it being those conditions, as Steelers DB noted, they don't have a run game right now. I was really a big fan of Evan Hall coming out, was looking forward to him getting an opportunity with Jonathan Taylor being out. That's not going to happen now. I think that they're a pretty good, solid defense. I don't think that they're capable of stopping Baltimore, but between Mother Nature and that Colts defense, I think that they'll be a little feisty. However, I feel like Baltimore is going to go out there and win this one. I do think, as you guys are saying, it is a little tricky with the injuries. I think with Baltimore, the most important thing, other than getting out of this game with a W, is getting out healthy, not having any kind of tweaks or anything on that wet field or anything like that. So I've got the Ravens in this one. If AR-15 was in there, it'd be a lot more interesting. With him out, this game kind of loses its luster from a competitive standpoint. So I've got the Ravens in this one.
Q, you're muted. Sorry, I was muted.
That nickname is so strong for Anthony Richardson that like it don't matter that he changed his number. Like 2 years ago, right? He changed to 5, but everybody still call him AR-15.
Oh, he AR-15, man. He locked in at AR-15.
It is like I know why he doesn't want to be called that because he doesn't want to be referred to as a gun.
Yeah.
But then like he's the one NFL player that plays quarterback. That you're like, yeah, that man is a rifle.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, he should embrace it. Whatever. So the one thing I would say, just to piggyback all your points, is because wet condition, the main thing also is you can be turning the ball over, right? Because that can change the game. If they play super conservative, that I'm talking about the Colts, and they don't turn off the ball over, and then we play a little bit more aggressive, and we get a fumble here, a fumble there, that can definitely switch the game. And if conditions are really bad, it's gonna be hard to be like, oh, because last time we played the Colts, we came back for like 20-something points. But this is not a game that you can come back like that because of conditions, unless it gets delayed, obviously.
Sonny, you know you done jinxed yourself. You said all we gotta do is be conservative, be safe. You know Jim Harbaugh about to go for that thing on his own 40.
Oh my God.
The first chance he gets to stress you out.
Onside kick to open the game.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Like said Justin Tucker out there for a 70-yard field goal to Monsoon. Like he gonna take all the risk.
It's like if we time it right, the Gus can take it.
And then he gonna get that press conference and make something even matter because he can be like, you know what, the numbers told me to do it.
Okay, we have a couple two super chats here, and then we're gonna move to the Steelers game. The regular dude says, I call it Ace. We will lose that game by 3. I'm assuming he's talking about last week's game. And then Q, he's calling you out a little bit here, but he says, and Q, you posted 60 vids a day when y'all beat us. Keep that same energy when y'all lose an Ace. I need you to post more because I love y'all content. So that's a Bengals fan. So I'm assuming when you
Yeah,
guys
I know
Bengals.
he don't be paying attention because I posted more videos this week. What you mean? Like, it was easy to post the videos last week about the Bengals. This week, I needed to post all the videos about the Browns. I upload 3 times a day, no matter win, lose, or draw. So, don't worry
Q is
about me.
consistent. Yeah, Q is consistent, guys. Yeah, don't worry.
Been doing
Exactly.
this for a while, young bucks.
Okay. Let's talk about the Steelers
Just
facing
released the video, actually.
the Raiders. 2 historic franchise. Playing Sunday night. Sunday night football for the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Look, Steelers DB. I'm gonna throw
Over
it to
under
you.
12 first downs.
I'm gonna I'm gonna throw it to you first. But for me, the question is this another Brown Steelers game? Meaning, is this a similar type of game? Do you think that's the game that the Steelers are gonna play to win this game?
If you don't have a rooting stake in this Steelers Raiders game, you should not be watching this game on Sunday night. I am baffled that we've got this game in primetime this early in the season. Yeah, I mean, you talked about 2 historic franchises. Obviously, Steelers Raiders games typically kind of get a little crazy. The Steelers have had a hard time winning on the road against the Raiders. Granted, now it's no longer Oakland, it's Vegas. But, speaking of historic, 2 historically bad run games coming into this game. The Raiders are the worst rushing team in the league according to success rate, and then the Steelers are 31st. So kind of a battle of who can be worst on that regard. I mean, the Steelers obviously coming off a exhilarating win against the Browns, but it was one that almost still made you feel kind of bad about their offense just because of how porous they were. I was going to say this with Q earlier when he was recapping the game. The Steelers actually had negative total offensive yards in the fourth quarter of that game, but they still somehow won. I have no idea. I don't know that I've ever seen that happen. But they
didn't
still
get a
were
trip to
able
the
to do
red
that.
zone, right? Like, not a single.
Nope.
I don't think
Not a
fun fact
single
about
play.
this Browns defense. I don't think they've given up one red zone trip this entire season.
Yep. So very interesting. Really, to start off with the Steelers offense, man, they're really struggling to run the ball. They're getting in a lot of third and longs situations. The offensive line has been a disappointment, especially after they've invested a little bit more than in years past. No Deontay Johnson. George Pickens looks like the real deal. He's probably been the highlight of the offense so far this season. Played really well against the Browns, I thought. Really, it just all comes down to Kenny Pickett. Pickett's looked frenetic, panicky, uncomfortable in the pocket. Even the things that he really did to end this in the last season, or the last part of his rookie season, I should say, better accuracy, better decision making, those things that I thought he could kind of continue into his sophomore season, those things have even regressed. So it's been really odd to see, especially after he looked pretty solid in the preseason. I thought we were going to at least get a step forward, but this has been more like 2 steps back. So the Steelers offense, the good news is the Raiders are dead last in points per drive, yards per drive, pretty much every defensive metric. They only have 1 defensive pass rusher right now with multiple pressures, I think, and that's Max Crosby. I mean, they've got some issues on that side of the ball. They got some other good players as well. I really like their safety duo, Trayvon Merrick, Marcus Epps. Those guys are pretty good players. Marcus Peters is over there, obviously a familiar face from the AFC North. And then just to kind of recap Steelers defense, I mean, they looked a lot better against the Browns than they did against the Niners. Still having some trouble stopping the run. Issues tackling popping up, containment, bad run fits from the linebackers. Obviously missing Cam Hayward, one of the best players in this division over the past decade or so. Anytime that he isn't here, to take those double teams, to penetrate in the backfield, you're going to have some issues. They're playing some younger guys to kind of supplement that loss. But linebackers have been okay. Corners, not really that great. I'm surprised that Cleveland didn't take more shots down the field against Peterson and Levi Wallace, who I thought that they may try to do that, whether it be with Amari Cooper or Elijah Moore. I know they were really close to hitting a couple of those sideline shots in that Browns game, but Thought Joey Porter Jr. played pretty well in limited action. I think he's going to continue to get more and more playing time throughout the course of the season. Minka's been in the headlines. A bunch of people arguing about the hit on Chubb. Obviously, a really unfortunate incident, but I still don't think that there was anything malicious there. But all in all, to say, if you're not a Steelers fan, not a Raiders fan, I probably would not watch this game because Jimmy G, Kenny Pickett, neither one of them are playing particularly well right now. Primetime, I think this is going to be a really ugly game. So I do think the Steelers are going to win, though. I'm pretty confident, even though, like I said earlier, the Steelers haven't won in Vegas, I think, since I was like a year or two old. But I don't know. Or against the Raiders, I should say, on the road now in Vegas, but I still think they win.
The Steelers, they beat. So this is the thing with this game, and I think you will see a theme for me. It's another game that I think it sets well for the AFC North opponent or team. Meaning, if you cannot get how the Raiders are playing right now, right? How they have been playing, this is the chance for this offense to get right? Like to be a little bit. I mean, you can be worse with what you just did against Cleveland. So, but to be better, to actually be decent, right? You don't not a power offense, but to move the ball. They're not that great against the running, defending the run. Najee Harris, which y'all know I'm not a fan of him, but they should be able to run a little bit. Kenny Pickett, can you be like? My whole thing with Kenny looks like he lost his poise. Like at the end of the year last year, I was like, man, this dude looks poised. He looks confident, and he
was
doesn't
standing
seem
in
like
there, getting hit, throwing the ball, still in the middle of the field, kind of anticipating stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's like he kind of, if Moof isn't there, I'm gonna go to Pickens. If Pick's not there, then I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic he has.
It is because you can see the progression as it was going last year, and I said before the season starts, like I think I might be buying this Kenny Pickett, how he plays, right? Because I can see progression, and then as soon as the year started, it was like it went the other way around.
I upgraded him to a Kenny Bridgewater, right? I was at a Kenny Peterman for a minute with him, but then I upgraded him to a Kenny Bridgewater.
Yeah, that's true. but my whole point here for this particular game is the offense. Even though the Steelers offense is bad right now, but that defense, you might be facing, if not the worst defense, close to one of the worst. So if you don't do it this week, it's gonna be rough going forward, right? So this could be a confidence booster game on offense, and on the other side, defense for the Raiders is not great, and what they do the worst, which is running the ball, is what the Steelers struggle. So it sets for the Steelers to have a good game on defense as well. So if you look, both sides should be dominated by the Steelers. It's a game that I'm expecting them to pressure Garoppolo and provoke interceptions, right? So I think the Steelers should win. But what are you going to say, Steelers?
And that's another thing, too. Jimmy G hasn't been under like any pressure so far through 2 games, and I still don't think he's played particularly well. And,
he hasn't. Yeah.
I think the Steelers pass rush is going to give the Raiders, their biggest test of the season. Really optimistic about them being able to at least make Jimmy G uncomfortable. I don't think he's seeing the field extremely well right now. And then kind of Josh Jacobs, I think he's still kind of working himself back into shape. I think that offensive line's really struggling in run blocking. Like you mentioned, it's going to be one of those things where this is a get right game for either the Steelers run defense or the Raiders run offense. And we're going to see what it is. But, I still think even if this should be one of those games where I'm not expecting, the Steelers offense to go out there and put up 27 or 33 points or something like that. But this should be a game where they actually look competent. That's all I'm asking for is competence against this Raiders defense. But even if they are below average or disappointing again, I still think the defense is going to be able to do enough. They're going to cause some turnovers. I just think that I'm pretty confident in their ability this week.
Yeah, I have the Steelers.
I feel so much more confident in the Steelers' ability to win this game because I just think there's a combination of things. If one of these quarterbacks were going to create points for the other team, you would have more faith that it's going to be Jimmy G because we've seen these movies before with him. You get pressure on him. He starts backing up, throwing on his hind legs and like just leaving one up in the middle of the field. And then you got Minka hovering over there like that. the Steelers are going to get turnovers, right? That's their thing. They're going to get turnovers in this game. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to give you that. Ryan Clark had the greatest quote of all time when he talks about Eli Manning. He was like, here's how I know Eli wasn't really a Hall of Famer, because when we would get into those meetings, they would tell us, he going to throw you one. All you got to do is catch it, Ryan.
Yeah.
And that's what the meeting for this week is. He's going to throw you one, Joey. He's going to throw you one, Minka. All you got to do is be in position to catch it. So that's going to happen. The defense is going to do the job. Alex Highsmith, he played tremendous against Jed Wills last week. He's going to get pressure. They're going to get pressure all day versus this Raiders front. So I think that's going to happen there. I don't think Kenny Pickett's not going to look great, but he's not going to make as many of those giant mistakes. And again, I talk about this all the time. People act like it's a mystery why these Steelers teams don't go under 500. It's not, because when the Steelers are in a game like this, when they are in a situation to where there is chaos or there is just incompetence, Mike Tomlin in this Steelers team will always be closer to competence than the other team. Incompetence wins football games in the NFL, right? Browns want to turn the ball over 4 times. We can't move the ball literally to get a first down in the fourth quarter. It's fine. They'll make a mistake. We'll be competent. We'll live up to it. We just won't turn the ball over on offense, right? We'll run a read option on third down. But we'll be competent. I don't know. I don't want to extend this to Matt Canada because I don't think many people think that of him right now. But in general, the Steelers will be closer to competent than other teams. And this is a game that's a perfect example of this. Nobody expects either of these offenses to play well, but the team that has the better chance of being closer to competent is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I don't think they're going to make the giant mistakes in this game as frequently as the Raiders are going to make in this game. So that's why I have Pittsburgh in this one. I just think I trust Kenny Pickett not to mess it up more than I trust Jimmy Garoppolo to not mess it up. Which, by the way, he the only dude. I remember I went through and charted all these like Pro Football Focus grades, and I was like, he's the only dude that has a win percentage above 500 when he plays a below starting average game. That Jimmy Garoppolo is the luckiest man in football, but he does turn that thing over at times.
The one matchup you didn't mention, Q, and I didn't mention it before because I was leaving it to you because I know he's your boy, McDaniels versus Tomlin. I thought you were gonna say like, well, you got McDaniels and Tomlin.
Yeah, I only got so much room for my anti-coach's agenda. I usually just leave that for Cliff Kingsbury, but he's not in the league anymore. So they take away all of my fun, right?
Yeah.
I get on that Cliff Kingsbury train. It took me 3 years to get y'all to be anti-Cliff Kingsbury like me.
That's true.
I was fighting. You weren't here, Derek. I used to have to fight an uphill battle to tell these people, Cliff Kingsbury is a fraud. He is a fraud. People were like, oh no, the Cardinals look good. And finally, I got vindicated on that the last couple of years. And then they robbed me of having this season of seeing Cliff Kingsbury have Josh Dobbs run the offense. I wanted to get my full victory lap in, but they robbed me. So I guess I don't get that. But yeah, Josh McDaniels, he's been living off the reputation that he built with Tom Brady for a long time. Nothing he's done outside of New England has been impressive. And I don't know how people see somebody not be impressive in New England, come back to New England, all of a sudden he's impressive, and then hire him again thinking it's going to be different, when obviously the variable that changes is that, is he under Bill Belichick? Yes or no? Is he competent under Bill Belichick? Yes. Is he competent without Bill Belichick? No, he's not. He's not even close. Wasn't he the guy who said, yeah, man, it's a good idea? Tim Tebow in the first round. Wasn't that him?
Yeah,
right?
He traded up.
That's who we're talking about. This man has demonstrated what, what else he said? And this is like, I'm not a Derek Carr defender at all, but how do you look at Derek Carr and go, how we going to fix this? We're going to get rid of Derek Carr and get Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, I agree.
What is so he doing that Derek Carr is not at a higher level? You got the same guy, but that's like saying, hey, man, we're going to upgrade our life, but we're going to get rid of our 2020 Toyota Corolla and get a 2018 Camry. Like, it don't make any sense. This is who we're talking about, Josh McDaniels. Again, closer to competence. I guess that was my dig on them. I didn't even think of Josh McDaniels when I said that, but yeah, I'll throw him in there. Closer to competence. Who do you trust? Mike Tomlin or the guy we just talked about?
I knew this was gonna give you a rant. I knew.
It's so funny too, because like you look at McDaniel's offense on tape, and like he's still running so many of like just the staple concepts. I watched them against the Bills, man. I thought about tweeting it out because I started to keep track.
That game was ugly too.
They ran a dagger concept, like some variation of dagger, literally probably 12 times, like the exact same play over. And the funny thing is, Jimmy G refused to throw it. Wouldn't throw the clear out, wouldn't throw the dig, like literally would not throw it under any circumstance. It was so funny because like you see receivers are going down the field, like waving, like I'm wide open.
This is what we practice. Come on, Jimmy.
Had no interest in throwing it.
So I know you had to go Steelers DB, but can you give us a quick take on the Bengals game?
Yeah. Who Bengals guy this week? I'm trying to remember.
Rams.
Yeah. No, I've actually been really. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little surprised that the Rams are playing as good a football as they are right now. I probably deserve to be ridiculed a little bit because I 100% thought Matt Stafford was completely washed, and just based on what I saw live, I think I'm wrong. So
he looked like
really
regular
good.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, he's looked really good. I think I underestimated McVay's kind of brilliance as well. I think it needs to be stated that, he's still one of the best offensive play callers in the game. I think the offensive line, they dealt with so many injuries last season. That was part of what, caused Stafford to look so poor and get hurt. Was just like they couldn't protect him. So he's got young weapons playing really well. Stafford's playing at a really high level. I don't know what the plan is with the running game. It seems like Kyron Williams is going to be the guy there. They just traded Cam Akers. Interested to see how that plays out. McVay is doing some cool stuff with their running concepts. That and the Shanahan tree in general has always been, real wide zone heavy, but they're running like more gap scheme, more power stuff, more pullers and things like that. I think it's cool to watch, his philosophy kind of shift over time. And then on defense, man, I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't think that the Rams are going to stop very many people this year. But if the offense keeps producing, it might not matter. So, they're playing a bunch of just. I literally tweeted it out the other day. To my followers on Twitter, I was like, if you were a diehard football fan, if you can name me more than 3 starters on the Rams defense, not named Aaron Donald, you were a diehard football fan. It's like a bunch of AI generated players are like, when you create the Madden draft classes.
They like, will you sim 5 years into a Madden league? And it's like they got Jimmy McNuggets in there.
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself a pretty big NFL draft, follower and stuff. And I legitimately can honestly say there was multiple people on that defense that I literally had never heard of. So the Bengals, man, I think, I don't know how to answer what the Bengals are going to be until I know if Joe Burrow's playing. If Burrow plays, I think they've got a good chance to win. I thought Burrow got into a little bit of a rhythm in that second half last week where he looked a little bit better. They got T. Higgins involved. I still think they're kind of missing a little bit of a vertical element. They had some one-on-one chances in week 1 against the Browns that they didn't hit, that we're used to seeing Burrow and Chase and Higgins hit. And then, last week too, I thought that they left a couple plays down the field. So I'm looking for like a more like explosive version of this, this offense. But Burrow, to me, he's kind of struggled a little bit outside the numbers. So I wonder if that's, the calf or what that looks like. And then just the defense with Cincinnati, I think, you mentioned earlier that DJ Reader been off to a little bit of a slow start. I think a couple guys that we're used to seeing play better football are off to a little bit of a slow start. But I have been impressed or somewhat impressed with the secondary. I think the secondary's been better. I thought that was probably the weak link of the defense. And I think that the safeties have been fine. I think Dax Hill is going to be a good player. So I'm not really sure who I want to pick just because I don't know if Burrow's going to play. If Burrow plays, I'll pick Burrow and the Bengals to right the ship and get on the board with a win. If he doesn't, then I'm going to go with the Rams.
Thank you for joining us. I know you have to go. We appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. Y'all enjoy the rest of the stream, man.
Take it easy. Okay, Ace. Bengals, Rams. Who you got, man? Ace? Hey.
By the way, I want to point out go ahead.
I'm gonna make this
Ace, we can't hear you.
Ace, your signal's a little wonky right now, bro.
Yeah. Let us know when you. I'm gonna read some super chats to give you some time.
By the way, I saw a comment here that said, I forget who said it, but somebody said they went from Derek Carr to Derek Carr 2.0. Nah, they went from Derek Carr to Derek Carr the beta. Like they went to the preview version of Derek Carr.
You know how we talk about game managers, quarterback, game manager. Derek Carr is just above a game manager, right? He's not quite a game manager. He's just a little above. Jimmy G is like below a game manager. He's just his record's good. That's the thing. That's the only thing with Jimmy. His record, career-wise, is good. Now he's been in good teams, right? He was with the Patriots for a little bit, and then the Niners, right? But nah, man. Okay, let me read some super chat here. The regular dude says, nah, it's all love, QESPN. Keep up the work, fella.
That's my new nickname. I'm not going to say it. I don't hate it. QSPN, I don't hate
yeah,
it.
QSPN, man. Browns 24, Titans 0. Let's effing go. Dogs, do it for sure. And then
that's also another thing. Like the Browns might come out here and play well because they're gonna have like an emotional game after that Nick Chubb injury. Like sometimes that happens in the league. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns came out here really motivated to play.
This is a game that the Browns should win, in my opinion, by a significant margin. Tomlin competent unless he plays against Brady. And Noah Stone. No, if one thing, Noah Stone with Brady,
see, look,
that's his
Tony's
brain.
not here to be hurt by that. See,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And now, go Steelers. This is from Yamar. Go Steelers. Jimmy G better than Watson.
After 2 weeks, you can make the argument. So Watson's got to play better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Ace here says that he's working with network issues, so we don't know if you're gonna get him back.
Tony said, "I am here to get her."
Oh, he is. Shout out to Tony. I thought he might not be here to see that, but Noah's still in the brand. Okay, so for me, the Bengals and the Rams. Look, this is a game that, again, and I said it for the other 3 games, but I think all 14. This is a get right game, right? Caveat: Burrow plays, right? If Burrow doesn't play, everything I'm gonna say goes off the window. But right now, their passing game for the Rams is one dude. I forgot the dude's name, Tupa or something like that.
Oh, Tuya Topo. Yeah. Basically, new Troy Polamalu is what everybody trying to call him.
Yeah, he's the new dude, and they don't have Cooper Kupp, and he is basically the entire offense, right? The Bengals can blank one guy. I mean, this Bengals defense is good enough to blank the wide receiver. He's a rookie too, by the way. Q. He's
Oh, you talking about the slot receiver?
Yeah. I forgot his name. It's like I forgot. Anyway, I don't want to.
I'm somebody Puka. Yeah, Puka.
Something like that. I don't want to botch his name. But
by the way, sometimes I wish NFL GMs would pay attention to names because some names are just undeniable that's going to be a good football player. You get a slot receiver named Puka, you got to draft that. You get a defensive tackle named Matabuke. What I say? Ravens better take him. I told y'all that.
Yeah.
No scouting. I was like, Matabuke, you got to take him off the name value alone, right?
I remember in that mock draft, you said Brown. It was your turn. You're like, you know what? Give me that Matabuke. He big fella with that name. You know he's gonna be good.
You know you're gonna be good, Matabuke. Like you never seen a bad one. Puka,
anyway,
Nakua, and Tutu Atwell. They are the all-time name team. The Los Angeles Rams. Like they got Matt Stafford.
This kid has been playing really good. But again, he's basically been the entire passing off. I think they should be able to blank him, should be able to stop him, right? They had almost no running game over there, right? And the Ravens were really good against the Bengals, but the Rams are not the Ravens, right? So I think they should be able to stop the run. They should be able to stop the pass. So I think this is a game for the defense to play well for the Bengals. On offense,
my bad.
Now, the other extra thing I want to say is on offense, if you think about it, the defense for the Rams has not been great either. It's not like they have been stopping people. Can they keep Burrow clean? If Burrow plays, right? If he plays, he's a little hurt. You have to protect him, right? Even if you send extra protection and limited route trees. Because at the end of the day, if you're bringing Burrow, your number one thing, he can't get hurt. He cannot. If he gets hurt, like significantly hurt, your season's done, right? So they need to have extra protection, max protect, whatever they need. You have 3 really good receivers, put them to play, and you have a good running game. So they have to run the ball, in my opinion, so they can set up somewhat of a play action and give Burrow some time. But you pay a lot of guys in this O-line. It's their time to shine. They need to protect Burrow. If they do, I actually think the Bengals win on a quite comfortable game. If they don't, it can be problematic.
Yeah, I think this is going to be – I think Joe Burrow right now is taking a page straight out of Ben Roethlisberger's playbook. This is, oh my God, we're so worried about his calf. We're so worried about Joe Burrow and his health. Is he going to play? He's going to get this thing to the most dramatic moment. And you know what? 4th drive of the game, Joe Burrow's he's going to limp off the field and you're like, oh man, damn, he's going to get it taped up. And then all of a sudden after that, he's going to be back to being the same damn Joe Burrow we've always expected him to be. This is, I have seen this play before, Joseph. Okay. I've been in this division a long time. I know the play you about to run. This is Big Ben 22 right. I know what you about to do. This is that. He's about to come. Monday Night Football, Sonny.
The drama.
He can't help himself. He is taking a page. This is about to be a Big Ben homage game. He is going to look bad at the beginning of this game. And you're going to be like, oh my God, Aaron Donald's going to tackle him. Everybody in the stadium's going to go, what do we do? And then he comes back. He might even do a fake wheelchair game. You know what I mean? And come back and just light them up at 345 yards in 3 quarters, 5 touchdowns. Bengals are back. Then we gonna have all of you little tigers in the chat back chirping like you used to. Our King's back. We got him back. Yes, Joe Burrow in chat. Yeah, y'all got to be doing all that. Y'all about to be back. This is what's about to go down. I'm telling you right now, I saw the script. I saw the script. They are writing. The script writers have gotten lazy. They're gonna give him a Big Ben script from like 2010. This is about to happen.
So Burrow starts the game. He gets tackled. He gets pulled to the sideline, and then remember that game.
Burrow starts the game, and he gets like 2 3-and-outs. Right? Like they're gonna. So you're like, are they just struggling? Is it the calf? And then they get to move the ball a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But then Joe Burrow goes down. Not down like he's hurt, but down long enough that you see like Browning or somebody warming up. And you're like, oh my God, is somebody about to go in? And then you get a defensive possession. The defense is going to have a nice little like semi-long, like let you get to like the 40-yard line to the 45, but not in field goal range. Stop you right there. And then they're going to punt the ball back. It's like, oh, Joe Burrow has his helmet. He has his helmet. He's coming out the tent. And then Joe Burrow about to light him up after that. Like, absolutely. Like, he might throw an interception in there if he wants to be extra, like, dramatic. But I promise you, this is about to be a peak Big Ben game.
I don't know if it was against the Browns. So I apologize if this game was against the Browns.
It's a fair assumption. We're talking about.
I remember Big Ben having that one game where he was playing and he got injured. And he was sitting there just watching the game. I forgot who the backup was. And then,
are you thinking about the playoff game against the Bengals?
Was it against the Bengals? And then he came again at the end, almost at the end of the game, and
pulled
the game
back. Yeah, it drove the game winner, and then the Antonio Brown late hit.
Okay, that was against the Bengals. Okay, I can see Joe Burrow doing something like that. Brownie throws a couple of times, and he throws maybe a pick six, and then Burrow's like, you know what? I'm here hobbling, but I'm gonna get it done. Yeah,
everybody's gonna be like, he went Jordan mode. Yeah. He went Jordan mode. Oh yeah, I know. Joe Burrow is one for the dramatics. I've noticed this about the young man. He's one for the dramatics. He about to be dramatic on this one. And you saw that picture of him looking extra sad, limping while he crossed the street, talking about he going to practice. Like, I know these plays, Joe. I know these plays, Joseph. Okay, you're not getting that one by me. I'm not buying it. But the Bengals are going to win this one by a good amount of points.
Yeah, I think the Bengals dominate. I actually think this is the game that they say, no, we're not going to go 0-3. We're going to win it. We're going to win big. And then, like you said, people are coming back and saying, you see, we're for real. We just start slow like always. 0-2. Last year we started 0-2.
By the way, if you are a Bengals hater, don't take the bait. They're going to give you the bait. They are trying to bait people with the bad takes too. Don't take the bait. Do not do it. Wait until the end of this game to send your slander. I'm putting that out there. Wait till the end of your game to say your slander alert game, because they're going to be incentivized to do it after the first quarter. Because I think he's going to have like 35 passing yards again in the first quarter or something like that. Yeah. If everybody going to be like, oh, get their Joe Burrow slander ready. Wait until the fourth quarter. I'm putting that out there. Alert, alert, alert. They are running play action out there, dog. That is what's happening.
For real, this says Burrow upgraded to limited on Friday injury report. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the main thing, because I think he will play, is protect Joe Burrow. And I think if they need to, the Ravens did it last week against the Bengals. They kept somebody sometimes on the backfield just in case somebody beat his man. That's what the Bengals need to do. They had great receivers. Let the receivers play. They paid this O-line. O-line needs to step up. I do think the Bengals win. I have all AFC North winning this week. I think Q and A said the Steelers and Bengals win. He said that his network is cooked. So but I think all four had the AFC North winning. That means there's gonna be a loser, because it's rare that they're all four win. Everybody can be happy. But anyway, if you want to see how we're going to recap this week, make sure Tuesdays at 8:30, come back and join us. Also, go check Caldera Labs, guys. There's great products. Link in the description below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Peace out.